Good morning. What is the importance of trust when it comes to business? How does trust relate to everything? For example, how much trust does somebody need to have in you before they buy your services? When somebody does trust you a lot, how easy or difficult is it to sell your services to that individual? What about business partnerships? What about business deals? How often do they get done or do they fall apart because of trust? There was a book called The Speed of Trust. I've got it behind me on somewhere on this bookshelf. But what I want to emphasize here is how important trust is. Now, there are two parts to this. One is I'm going to talk about trust, and the other I'm going to talk about communication. And I want you to think about these ideas every day. The more you think about these, the more you will understand other people, the more you will understand yourself, and the more you will get business done. And really quickly, the idea behind the speed of trust, or trust in general, is that when you have more, as trust goes up, the cost of doing business and the cost of doing business goes down and the speed of business goes up. You get things done way faster, far quicker, and you get them done better for less money. Why? Because you don't have to spend so much on contracts. You don't have to spend so much on fighting people. I usually have contracts with everyone that I deal with. Having said that, it is far more important that we have trust and rapport and relationship. And when we have relationship and trust, the contracts almost become insignificant. Now, that's not to say you don't do contracts. With any serious business deal that I do, I have contracts. Having said that, again, the contracts that I use are not to enforce anything. For me, contracts, the basic premise of my contracts with people is that they spell everything out, and then everyone can be clear on what's happening in this business transaction. And we can fall back on that and say, oh, well, wait a second, I was confused here. Oh yeah, it says this. I was in the wrong, or yeah, you missed that. You're forgetting that this was in the contract, and so we get back on the same page. That's all I typically use contracts for. Usually, I'm far more focused on building trust, and there are crazy stories about people who have done billion-dollar business deals on a handshake with a word of trust. So here's the question: how much do people trust you? And on the other side, how much do you trust other people? If you're not trusting other people and other people don't trust you, you've got a lot to work on. So now I'm going to transition into the second phase of this morning with Mark, and that is, how do you build trust? How do you communicate so you can build trust? The quickest way to build trust with anybody, this is bar none, this is the quickest way to build trust, is to listen to them and understand them. The more you listen to and understand somebody, the more they trust you. Why? Because they feel safe. When we feel safe, we trust somebody more. Period. This works with your partner, this works with your kids, this works with your parents, this works with the other family members and friends, this works with business partnerships, this works with clients and customers and employers and employees and anyone. Now, I could go into a number of different directions here. What I'm going to refer back to are so many of the videos that I've already covered this on, and where I've emphasized that the better we listen, the better questions we ask, the more engaging we are with people, and the more that we allow them to be who they are in our presence, the more they will trust us. So how do you do that in your marketing? When it comes back to trust, and it comes back to getting good business deals done and easy business deals done, the more somebody trusts you. I had a call with somebody 2 days ago. Somebody who is thinking about hiring me as a coach, and they said, hey, listen, you've come really highly recommended. That's the only reason why I gave you a call. The only reason they gave me a call was because they trusted somebody else. Now, as they were building trust with me, as we were talking on the phone, he said, yeah, this all sounds great. Do you have a few references that I could take a look at? Sure enough, this person is wise. Why? Because he's saying, I'm going to trust this person. I'm going to verify a little bit. But you know what? When that person trusts me, we're going to move quickly into the coaching relationship. I don't have to sell them a lot. Why? Because I've got other people that trust me that are selling my services for me. And that this is something that consistently can happen. So again, how are you building trust in your market? How are you building trust with your potential clients and customers? You do that by offering value. You do that by giving people an ability to feel safe in different ways. And that comes through communication. It comes through listening. It comes through interacting with people. Now, this is something that I'm fantastic at one-to-one. I'm awful at when it comes to social media. On social media, I don't interact with social media really almost ever. I put things out there. It's because it is part of my strategy when it comes to marketing. Having said that, and it builds trust simply by seeing my face in different places. places. But I don't spend a lot of time on social media. Actually, my assistant spends all the time on social media. And in one-to-one, I can interact a lot with people. I find social media, it's actually quite difficult to interact back and forth and have meaningful conversations. You can do it. It's possible. It's a lot more difficult for me because there's such a separation in so many ways. There's not the face-to-face contact, and I prefer face-to-face contact. And as you will learn in business, if you haven't learned this already, face-to-face contact is actually the preferred business model for networking, for conversations, for building trust, for most people who are really successful. They want to see someone face to face. They want to connect with somebody. The more we connect with others, the more we believe we can trust them. For this morning, all I want you to focus on is asking yourself, how well do people trust me? How much do I trust other people? And if there's a problem in one of those areas, what I want you to do is come up with a simple plan. A simple plan. That is, what are one or two things, even one thing, what is one thing that I can focus on that will begin to build trust with others or help me trust others? That's it. One thing. And as you do that, you'll start to see differences in how people trust you and trust in relationships and how you communicate with others. You'll also start to see a difference in your results long term. This is not a short-term play, it is a long-term play, but it has fantastic, fantastic outcomes. Enjoy the day.